everyone. How are you doing? Today we've got the wonderful who is with us now, Dan Flores. So, Dan, hey, how you doing?
I am doing well, having fun, drawing every day, enjoying myself, doing the thing that I really like to do. Thank you for having me.
It's absolutely our pleasure. Thank you ever so much for coming along. And I know you've just said it's only 9 o'clock in the morning there, so first coffee's going in. The caffeine.
Yes, it's the best time.
Yeah.
Yes, it's the best time to get creative. Just get started, and it'll set the pace for the rest of your day.
Nice.
Create.
Nice. So, what will you be sharing with our lovely community today?
So I'm gonna go over some of the steps that of my process that I go through when creating a character, and so there's a lot of sketching. There's a lot of figuring out the accessories and the things and the art style, and then jumping into Illustrator to go ahead and finish the work. So that's what I want to go over today.
Cool. Awesome. Well, I'm really, really looking forward to that. It should be absolutely amazing, especially as I'm a big fan of Illustrator, as I was talking about to you before. So, I've used it for a long time. So, I'm looking forward to get some top tips on that.
I mean, let me go ahead and start from the beginning, right? And so on my screen, I have a character that I started drawing recently, and his name is Sketchy. Big surprise. It's he is a regular looking character, body type, and art style, but with a book for a head. It's a sketchbook. And so that is where we're going to start with in today's story of my character and what he does. And so I haven't worked out all the details as to, do they draw on their head? Do they think of the drawings or whatever? Because he's an artist. He's got to be an artist like me. And so that's where we're going to take it through. All right. So there's my screen. There's my character. And like I said, so he has a blocky head, and but it's a book. It's a sketchbook. And so I like creating characters that have a story, that have some kind of meaning behind their lives and the things that they do. And so that's the fun part for me, to come up with ideas of what kind of life a character is living. And so this character, like a lot of my characters, because I am an artist, so I like drawing characters who do art. So in this case, you'll notice that my character here has a pencil strapped to his side, and of course it's a very cool, easy to draw art style, very bold and colorful. But I like shoes. I like art utensils, so there it goes with that. So let me show you where all my drawings begin. A lot of my drawings start in as a sketch. Everything has to be a sketch. Everything has to be an idea that put out on paper or digital or traditional, and I put it out and to see what it looks like. And so I saw something. I want to say it was a Zelda poster, and they had the character going like this, and I was like, oh, that's perfect. I like that. And so I wanted to do something similar to that. And so here is my sketchy character, and I this is sketchable. I'm gonna get into Illustrator in a second, but when it's time to sketch out an idea, come on, there it is. There's my layers. When it's time to sketch out an idea, I like to work my way to it, and
Cool.
these are a bunch of layers here. Boom. So first I thought of the character, and I said to myself, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go ahead and get the sketch out. A lot of times when I do my sketches, there it is. Just get rid of that. It's they start very simple. Look, just a scribble, and I need to get the body pose down to see if it works, and to see if I can match up my idea in my head to what's on paper. So a lot of times I just sit there and scribble it pretty fast. There it is. There's my pen, and just go ahead and start a scribble, and there's the pencil,
Uh-huh.
and I go ahead and start drawing the body. Right. So there he goes. Boom, head. Let's do some ears. Bam, bam. The eyes. Got it. Everybody has a beard in my world because it's me. It's a version of me, right? And so when I do that, I go ahead and get the drawing out, and then start thinking about the details later. First, I have to get the figure. I have to get the figure. So let me turn that down and then find where is the figure. So there's the background. I said, this figure should live in a world. Character. There's the sky. And now let's go ahead and start. Let me see, where is it? Is it here? Yep, there it is. Let's start a cleaner sketch. So now I added, I cleaned up the sketch, and I added more elements that tell me who this character is. So he has like a coat or a jacket or something like that. Yeah, Sketchable is an app for Windows 10 devices, especially the Surface. And that's where I do a lot of sketching. I got to get the sketching out. Sometimes I use Fresco. I'm open to drawing on everything and anything. I do not let a nap. I don't wait for a nap. I just go ahead and get on with it. So so now that I have my character here, I turn down the opacity, get rid of everything else, and say, let's go ahead and draw some details into this character. And then that's when I start adding the jacket. I clean up the jacket. I clean up the book, the angles. I start adding an arm and the jacket and the arm. Start putting up the hands. Hands are hard already as it is. And as I started drawing this character, and I've been drawing it for the last few months now, I figured out that I like to draw my character in the pencil art style and pencil-like brushes, which brings us into the brushes that I'm going to use later. So now I'm drawing, and it's like, you know what? I don't want this drawing to be highly rendered image, even though I've done it, right? That's what we're looking at, like a highly rendered and, clean lines, and it looks very sharp. But I said, no. For this drawing, I wanted to have the sketchy look. His name is Sketchy. I'm sketching it out, and it's going to look kind of sketchy. And so there's some markers. My character is an artist, so there's a lot of markers in his backpack and so on. And he's got pouches. My characters all have pouches. There's something about the 90s and Image Comics, Marvel, and
utility, right? Carry loads of stuff.
yeah, you need stuff to carry. Yeah.
If you've done photography or anything like that, you need your pouches.
That's right. Yep, you need your backup. So Batman has pouches. I'm a big Batman fan, and it's like everything fits in the pouch, even though the thing is big and the pouch is small. It fits somehow. Somehow it works out. All right. So as I started adding elements, of course, got a big pencil, dragging a big pencil, and so I also so I started adding these elements, and I also have a issue with ankles, like where the leg meets the foot, and getting the ankle right. Sometimes I do add I do have shoes like this one right here. This one has shoes, and you don't see an ankle because the pants run into the shoes. Here I was like, you know what? Let's do the cuffs on the bottom of the pants, and then we don't have to worry about the ankles. All right, so there it is, right? So I worked on my character. I said, I like that. That's better. And so every step that I take, I go ahead and get rid of a layer. Then I turn down that layer, and now I'm going to clean it up. But actually, you know what? I didn't do anything more here because I went ahead. Oh, yeah, I did some shading. Oh, I did do more. Let me go ahead and clean that right there. So there goes. So after I did this sketch, I went ahead and did a cleaner sketch. So that way I have a clear picture of what I'm going to do. I have a clear idea before I jump into Illustrator. Nice. Now, there are artists who like to go through the creative process in Illustrator already. I know this one artist. Her name is Afua. Amazing, super talented artist. And she likes to draw right in Illustrator and sketch. I'm like, whew. I'm used to pencil sketching. And so I like to see my levels of sketches growing to the point where I have the drawing that I want. And but so it's no wrong way. I just feel like when I'm in Illustrator, I want to see the drawing. I don't want to go through that exploration process. I want to get into the actual finishing rendering process when I'm in Illustrator. So that's why I do a lot of sketching now.
Sure.
So
It doesn't feel
yes.
that kind of, for me, it's always felt a little bit more structured, a bit more rigid. So it's difficult to do that real sort of creative sketching in, I find anyway.
Right. Yeah, and Illustrator has you can have such clean lines that's what I want to focus on when I'm in Illustrator.
Sure.
I want to focus on those anchor points and Bezier curves. So here I am. I'm at this point where I'm happy now. I'm looking at this sketch. I was like, yes, I like this. And so it's time for Illustrator. And so I take a screenshot. I'm done with Sketchable. Here is a couple of screenshots. Let me see. This is my character still. Look, I did a team sketchy team. That's sketch team A, just for fun. And I take popular. Thank you. I take popular. I'm sorry. Say that again.
I said I love the big tongue on the sneakers.
Yes. Again, because I don't like dealing with the ankles.
I thought it was to look cool.
That's right. And that does look cool. Yes, it's a good design element. I like that. So when so there's those, and then there's that sketch with Sketchable. And then from there, I take it into Illustrator. And so when I'm in Illustrator, that's when I pulled up those brushes. And I like the brushes because they have that squiggly edges. It's not super clean and sharp. So I'm going to show you a couple more sketchy characters that I created. There it goes. It's another one that's in Sketchable also. And it's got that sketchy look. There goes Sketchy again. He's chilling. And I think I did finish that a little bit better. Add some color and so on. Let's see what else we got going on here. So my friend of mine, which is on Thursday evenings here at 7 p.m. Eastern. She goes live, and everything is about figure drawing sessions. And so she had a figure drawing session, and I drew these poses based on the figure drawing session that we had. And instead of doing the poses with the body types and whatever was in the model, I made my own with Sketchy. And so this is what an example of that. So do take the time to explore your figure drawing skills by creating your own character and using that character for the figure drawing. So there's Sketchy again. Once I added muscles to Sketchy, I was like, oh snap, he looks really cool. He looks so cool.
He looks in shape.
Yes, he's in shape. He works out more than me. And so here's the final. And I'm going to open the Illustrator file so we can show you how did we go from that sketch to here in Illustrator. And so, but one thing I want you to notice is that by using those brushes, the inkwell brushes, even though the word is, the name of the brush is inkwell, it has that scribbly edges,
sure.
So that it kind of looks like a pencil to me in some sense. And I've used all kinds of brushes just so that I can kind of emulate the traditional drawing look, but in vector. And I'm a big vector artist. I love vector. I'm a big fan of vector because I like to take my artwork to the real world. And so sometimes we make t-shirts out of it, stickers. If you want to make a banner, then the art will transform to whatever size you need, and it'll still look clean and sharp. So that's why I like using vectors and finding the kind of brushes that are going to give me that art style that I want to see in my art, but still scalable.
Cool.
Yes. All right. So let's go ahead. And here's that boombox in case I started like this. Boom. You can rock a party with the hippity hop. You got to let them know you'll never stop. And I don't rhyme. That's just a hip hop song. And there's my layers, the boombox, the character, and the quote. That's all I need before I can then hop onto Illustrator. Or this was actually all done in Sketchable, and then I did that.
And apologies if that's not the right pronunciation. Asks, can I take normal characters and turn them into quirky and interesting characters? Is that something you do as well? Do you ever work over like normal characters and quirk them up?
You guys want me to pull up some cool artwork? I got it. Look, so I am a big Batman fan, right? So what I like to do with Batman, I made this is all pencil sketches. I made an Aztec Batman. And so I just added some little bit of an Aztec flair to the Batman character. So yes, you should take popular characters, give them your own story, rechange them, adjust them, whatever, make them your own. Even though, of course, I will not take this image and create any kind of IP out of it because it's really a Batman. But it's still kind of cool and fun to try and flex those creative muscles. Aztec Batman, that's right. Let me see. I have one other one here. This is Batgirl, I think. So she's pretty normal. I'm trying to see what else I have. Oh yeah, I like yoga poses. I like yoga poses. And so I saw this yoga pose, like, oh, this is really cool. And instead of just doing a person doing the yoga pose, I went ahead and drew Batgirl. Why not? You have to just take what you see, add your own extra mix into it, and then go further. And a lot of my artwork shows my inspiration and my growth as an artist from all the influences that I've come across. And just to illustrate that, let's go ahead and find something that will give you an insight into that a little bit. Let me see if I have that here. I did not expect to jump into this part of my art, but I said, why not?
But it's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's cool. I like it. Thank you. So there's me as Batman, and we call it Bat Dan. And so, yes, you got to add your own self into it. You are the hero of your story. You are the hero of your story that you create on paper, digital, traditional, that you create yourself, but also your real life. You are a hero character living this life. So I mix myself in anywhere I can and however I want, which brings me into my influences, comics, animations, but also my culture. So I'm born and raised in East LA. My parents are from Mexico. I did travel to Mexico. I lived in Mexico for a few years. And so that gave me extra insight into the history and culture of Mexico, the mythology of the Aztecs, the mythology of the Aztec gods. And so I bring all of that together into my art. And so I wanted to see if I could pull up an Aztec piece. Oh, yes, there we go. And here is one of the characters that I drew up. And so she is an Aztec goddess. Her name is Coatlicue. Let me go ahead. There it is. Bam. That's an Illustrator. And I started the drawing in Adobe Fresco. And so a lot of the art that I create has some kind of Aztec element in there. Hey, Sam Diaz from Mexico. And so everything that you see in my art, I tried to find, well, where do I fit into my art? I'm not a machine. I want to be Terminator. That'd be a cool machine. No, I'm not a machine. I am not a Xerox machine just making copies and cranking out art that is for just for others. I do take commissions. I am a freelancer. I do a lot of client work. And so that's very specific art, right? So that's related to the brand, to the message, and the things that the project is about. But when it comes to my personal art and my personal portfolio, you are going to see something that calls out. That's Dan right there. So, all right.
Nita's saying she loves the colors. Sam says it looks so cool. So it's getting a lot of love. Getting a lot of love.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, so here we go. Oh yeah, she could take on Chun-Li.
Yeah, I just saw that one. Actually, the previous one reminded me of Dalsim in that yoga pose, right?
Yes, right. Yep.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right, so is I guess, and the coolest thing about Mexican culture is the color palettes, very bright colors. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So when I'm in Illustrator, here's my sketch. I brought in my sketch. One thing that I did with Sketchable is go ahead and add the shading, so that way I see a 3D object and not a flat image, right? So I want to give myself enough information in this drawing so that when I start the vector process and I start focusing on my paths and anchor points, the art is not coming out flat. I need to see it in 3D, and it's a flat 2D illustration, and I'm a 2D illustrator, and I'm okay with that. And I envy those who can make 3D artwork and 3D graphics and movements and animations and all that. So I try to put in as much as I can into my drawing so that you can kind of fool your eyes a little bit. So I start with a lot of this.
Yeah, right. Go ahead. I mean, it's got real depth to it. You haven't done much, but it's really brought it to life in terms of it being 3D.
Yes, that and that's what I like. I really like to add those little extra details. So to begin, I do the line work. So let's go ahead and start with some lines. And I want to say that's the lines right here. Oh, that's the soft lines. Never mind. There it goes. And I did name my layers. So one thing you want to do is name your layers, even if it's for yourself. I talked about this with my wife a lot about layers. And somebody was doing a demo and showing us, and this is on YouTube or something. And my wife caught it. It said layer 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And my wife said, "Name your layers, dude." And because as artists, as creatives, you want to keep things as many layers as possible. You want different elements that you're drawing on a different layer, so you can always come in and make adjustments, and it makes it real easy to find that layer that you need to make an adjustment in. And if you name that layer, you don't have to sit there and click and guess where this piece that you want to edit, what layer is it on. And so I'm gonna show you how that works. Okay, so there's the outline. So I did my outline. I was like, cool, I got to get my outline. And when I made this outline, I am using the brushes now. And so let's go get our brushes. There's our brushes here. Boom. And I think that brush, there it is, Inkwell Narrow 6 and Inkwell Narrow 5. So I go into my brushes, and did I save them here? No, I guess I have to grab them in. Go ahead, open library, go into, let me go ahead and find sketchy. You gotta always organize your folders. And there was in here. I saw it in here. I thought I saw it in here. Let me double check. Where is my, oh, it's in the sketchy. It's in the sketchy. There it is. Boom. So there it is, the Illustrator Inkwell brush file, Creative Cloud. When you download that, those brushes, you're gonna get several files, including for the Creative Suite, Illustrator Creative Suite, which is a few years older. I say few, but I think it's a long time ago. In any case, we're in the Creative Cloud, and I use the Creative Cloud. You should try out the Creative Cloud. It will change your life. And so I saved just that Creative Cloud file here in this folder, so that whenever I'm working on an illustration, I save the brushes with that folder. So anytime I need those brushes, I can always go back and get them. You want to organize your files, please. You'll be more efficient with it. So there we go. Click on it. There it is. What's up, Illustrator Inkwell? Now, a lot of these brushes I don't get into, like this one right here. That's not my thing. But let's try it out anyway. Let's go ahead and move some of these things out the way. Come here. And let me bring that back. Boom, got it. And let's get my brush. And let's go there. We got that. So let's go. Come on. There it is. So, and that's a cool brush. I like that. It's just very thick for me for what I do, and which is what I want, that sketchy look for the line work. And so I can always change the stroke size. Boom, and that's cool too. What I was looking for when I grabbed this brush is these right here, because then it has, there it is. Now, please, don't pay attention to how long it takes for the brush stroke to show up. It's because we're running a few things on this surface right now, so the processing power is a little taxed. However, that is it. This is what I like about using brushes like this, is that you can sit there. I'm using a surface. It is a touchscreen. I have my Surface pen here, and I'm sitting there drawing and sketching right into Illustrator, and it has more of that organic look and feel than just using the pen tool. I love the pen tool. I'm not talking bad about the pen tool. I'm not saying one is better than the other. I am just saying that depending on the artwork and the art style that you want, you're going to want to make a choice as to what kind of brush or what process you're going to go through in your drawing. So there it is at home in my home office. And if you check out one of my design cuts videos from a few months ago, I had my Cintiq, and so I connect my surface to my Cintiq, and then I have a bigger space to work in. And I like that too, because I like that drawing organic art style when you're drawing right in Illustrator for some of my drawings, for some of them. All right. Okay, let's see. So any cool questions? All right. There it is. That's done. I do like drawing in these brushes because you can always change the stroke size. And that's super important to me, to be able to go in and change the stroke. So let me go ahead and boom, there we go.
Laurie actually asked, what's your favorite iPad drawing app and why? But you're obviously using Surface here, right? So do you use the iPad as well?
That's right. I do use the iPad. Yes, I'm a bit of a hoarder. I have I have just about anything I get my hands on, and so on the iPad I use Adobe Fresco. I use Adobe Fresco on the Surface also, and so I'm all about Adobe apps in the Creative Cloud. You want to take advantage of the Creative Cloud, and because whatever I draw here right now, and if I save this file to the cloud in Illustrator, and this is on the Surface, I have a map book next to me. I can open Illustrator on this map book, and it will show me that same file, and I can keep on working on it. And so that is a big advantage, because it doesn't matter what device you're working on. I can open my iPad in Illustrator and then pull in that same file, the same drawing, as long as I'm signed into the same account. So the Creative Cloud is amazing. I like using Fresco for a lot of my sketching when I am on the iPad. And but even in Fresco, I draw my artwork. I end up using vector brushes for my drawings, so that I can take it into Illustrator, and now is a scalable illustration that can be used for everything and anything. I hope that answers a little bit of the question.
It does, and there's lots of hoarders saying they hoard too in the chat.
Yeah.
He's a brush hoarder.
There you go. Yes. Oh my God, brushes? What? Yeah. Well, you know, you never know when you're gonna need it. You really don't know, you know. So it's like, hey, I have an idea for this. I'm not sure when I'm gonna get to it, but I want it. So I started my sketch. I did my sketch. I was like, yes, I like what I got going on here. I like the outline. I got the inkwell brushes working for me. Perfect. Good to go. Now it's time to do what I like to do, which is a lot of details. So let's go ahead and turn on the soft lines. And so when you add the soft lines into it, that adds a little bit of extra information on the drawing. So we went from just the regular outline to add in soft lines. And now you can kind of see more about what it is. You can see the backpack. You can see the markers. You can see the little shoulder logo showing up. You can see some of the texture on the book, on the pencil. I like making my pencils a little bit like the wood part, a little bit crooked and weaving in between because it's wood, right? I wanted to have a more of a natural wood look. And so then if we look at, there goes the shoes, and the shoes don't have a lot of detail there, but some of these lines also add shadow to the drawing. And so this is reminiscent of the time period when I was deep in comics, spending $200 a month in comics. I used to, well, I probably still do. But now I buy big, thick ones. Don't buy the issues, the single issues. In any case, I used to spend a lot of money in comics, and in those days, there was a lot of line in the artwork. And so that's what I do. I somehow I try to emulate other people's art style, and I say to myself, I'm gonna keep it simple, I'm gonna keep it clean. And halfway through the drawing, I forgot. I'm just sitting there drawing and going crazy. And so that's why you'll see a lot of line work in my drawings. So I did that. And so now it's like, okay, this is good. Now let's go ahead and add something else into this drawing so we can see where is Sketchy. What is Sketchy doing? And so I changed the scene because I did not want to go through all the, there was a crowd of sketchies down below in the original sketch. So here I was like, oof, that's going to take me a long time to do. So let me go ahead and simplify to the basic right now to get this drawing done. And so I went ahead and added the hill. Again, the same brushes. Boom. There we go. Nice. I like it. And you see it's got that roughness style to the stroke. And so it gives that sense of, oh, it could be a pencil. It could be a sketchy sketch. No problem. Very cool. So now let's go ahead and add some hard shadows. And by adding the hard shadows, even though it says hard, it's really very light shadow. And the way I do my shadows is it's a shape. It's nothing but a shape. Just use the path and close the shape, and keep and just draw with the same color that you've already used. However, in the settings and the opacity for this layer, for this hard shadow, I have my opacity set to 20% or 21%, and on multiply. But what that does is I can adjust how hard or strong or light I can have my shadows here. That's one set of shadows. Let me go ahead and show you the next set of shadows, because the more layers you add, the more information you add to the drawing, and then the eye can capture certain things, and it looks really cool. I'm just preparing you to by telling you that it looks cool. All right, here we go. Boom, another one, soft shadows. So now I have some soft shadows here, and now as you can see, it adds a whole nother dimension to this drawing. So let me turn this off.
So do the shadows roughly follow the shadow lines? Is that the guide you're using to put those on? And on there, and Sam asks, do you find it a struggle using the shading and shadows when working in vectors?
No. Well, not now. I don't struggle with it now because I have my process, right? I have a creative process that I follow, and I don't do it because it's a checklist for me. I do it because I'm used to it. I found a way for me to work through my drawings, and so one thing I don't like to do is masking, and that's the only trouble I have. I don't like doing masking. The only time I will use masking is when I'm working with client artwork and we need to crop something for some particular reason. I do a lot of beer. I have a beer client, so I do a lot of beer designs. And so sometimes we have to like crop something, and you can't just, use the eraser and crop something, so you will mask it. However, when I'm drawing and doing this, I'm not going to mask. There's no masking in this character artwork. So I found a shortcut for myself. And here's my shortcut. Check this out. So this is the soft shadows. Let me go ahead and turn it back up to 100%. Let me turn off the hard shadows. And so what I do first in my process, I go ahead and say, here's the area where the shadow is going to be versus the area where the light source is coming from. So here in the studio, I do have a lot of light, so there's not much shadow happening going on. However, when so you have to find a light source, and then the opposite of that is going to give you the shadow. So boom, I go ahead and start filling in that shadow. Once I do my whole shadow the way I like it, I'm going to duplicate that layer. Not going to do any masking. I'm just going to duplicate that layer. And I'm going to then, let's turn that off. And this is the layer that I duplicated. And I'm going to shave off the extra pieces that I don't want. And this is the, there's different names for shadows and I forget, I'm sorry. But there's a part of a shadow where, like, let's say between your fingers right now. And so there's an area where the light just is not going to come in. So it's going to give you shadow versus the shadow on the bottom of my hand versus the top of my hand. There is another type of shadow. And so that's the shadows that I'm creating here. And I'm creating one shadow layer. Out of that shadow layer, I will duplicate and trim off any excess that I don't want. Then I'll duplicate again. I'll take off extra excess. And now I don't have to struggle to figure out, well, this shadow is sticking out of this other shadow. I need to fix that. Nah, I start with the big shadow and trim. And now I get that cool gradient going without actually using a gradient. So I figured it out for myself by trying to emulate other artists. And I see what they do and they're like, I don't want to do that. Masking, that's cool, but I don't want to do that. So what do? Let me figure something out. I know I can work with the layers and do something with the layers to figure this out. All right, so let's bring this back to 20 some percent. Is it selected? No, you got to select your layer first. And then, boom, there you go. Somewhere in the 20s, got it. So there's one set of shadows. Let's zoom in so we can see. Let's turn on the other set of shadows. And right now it's at 100%. So let's fix that and bring it down. And once I do that, now you kind of see like a bit of a extra light layer and an extra darker layer or shadow. And they're really set on multiply, so they play with each other. So now it's not one color on top of another color. It's now a blend mode on top of another blend mode. And I admire those artists who can use all these other blend modes that are here. I go as far as multiply and screen. But there's these people who are using all these other blend modes like, wow, that's amazing. And then I tried it and it doesn't look right. And I was like, okay. Well, let me stick to the blend modes that I like. So try your blend modes. You got to try your blend modes. All right. So now I'm gonna now, even though I use a lot of color in my artwork, I am not good with color. Don't ask me about the color wheel. Don't ask me about complementary colors versus trietary colors. I don't know any of that. Don't ask me what's the difference between the hue and the saturation. I just play around and figure it out as I go along. However, because my culture is Mexican and Aztec and the mythology, and there are very beautiful colors in all of this artwork, I start with my basic colors. The what do you call them? I start with the basic colors. That's it. Give me red, green, blue, yellow, and orange, and I'll start with that. Primary. Good answer. There you go. See, I forget because I just go with the primary and say, okay, what can I do with this here? And so this is an army type of jacket. So I say, okay, there's going to be greens. I like wearing blue. You can't see my pants, but they're blue. And so it's like, okay, well, I want it to be jeans. So there it is. So that sets the stage for my colors. Plus, the book, it's a black book, but I don't want to go black because then you lose a lot of stuff here. So it's kind of grayish. We'll figure this out. So I'm going to start figuring things out as I go along. I like to draw my colors on a layer under the line work. That way, the colors fit inside the lines, but you don't need to see the edges of the color. Like nobody needs to know that. But my artwork has a lot of lines, and I do admire people who can draw vectors without lines. Like it's just shapes, and it's like that's beautiful. That's beautiful. So here we go. Let's go ahead and start with sketching. Boom. So I did a blue color for his head. Got it. Added the cuffs of the pants. Nice. I start coloring in. There goes the pants. So make the pants a little darker than the cuffs, because the cuffs of the pants is the color is really the pants folded inside out. So that's why you get a lighter tone. There goes the coat. So let's make the coat green. Bam, I got it. Now that I have the shadows locked in, I don't have to think about, well, is this color right? And is there a color that complements this color to give that color, to give this object a shadow off based on the same color? I don't want to worry about that. I want to just go ahead and flatten, do some flats, and bam, and I let these shadows, because they're multiplied, they're set to multiply, let them add that extra hue, shadow play, so that it looks like there's a different color green or a different color blue, that then gives the impression that, yes, this coat has some shadow, and the greens in the coat are all different kinds of greens, when it's really a blue color that's set to multiply.
Nice.
So there it is. I like to play with that.
Work out
now.
It's really just works it out for you as you go along.
Yes. Now, it took a long time for me to figure out my process, because I want to draw like other artists draw, but I want it to be in vector. And so I had to figure out, like, how could I, get these steps to work in my favor. So here we go. Let's do the backpack. There goes the backpack. Of course, because I'm going to add extra layers over that color of the backpack, I don't have to stay inside the lines. I can just cut through other areas that are not going to have that brown. So let's add some yellow for the belts. There it is. Got it. There is a skull here on the shoulder. So let's go ahead and add the skull color. Add some color to the skull. Where did it go? Oh no, actually, that's the different skull. It's up here. That's that skull. There it is. There we go. Yep. Got it. Cool. Now I need to color in the markers. There is no order for how I do this. And in the order in which these layers are, that's not how I took my time making this drawing. I jump through different things, and then I organize my layers. All right, so here we go. Purple. I just named the layer the color. There goes some gray. That's for the here the pencils. Let's go some reds. Start adding some. Oh, I didn't click it. Click it. There it is. Click on it. Click on it. Now I use a lot of red and green in my drawings. My wife told me, every time I see the red and green, I think of Christmas. And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm Mexican. Red and green is the flag. That's the flag. It's not Christmas, but maybe you see Christmas. I don't know. Some people see Christmas. All right, so there goes the blue, and now we go some green. Bam. Let's go some brown for the hands. Yep, the brown. There it is. So now I'm starting to color in the figure, and now it's coming to life. You're like, yeah, I like it. Now,
looks awesome.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Now we get to a point where now I want to add some highlights. I need to add some highlights so that it doesn't look opaque or pastel-y like. I want to make it pop a little bit. So let me zoom in some and then show you where my highlights are. There they are. Bam. And so now it looks like there is a color, a light source in front of it. We already knew that the shadow is behind them, but now we need that light source to show us there's a light, or the highlights that show us that there's a light in front. So this is before, and there it goes after. Bam. Let's get rid of this layer window. Got it. Boom. So now it has this extra highlight that now it brings extra information into the drawing, so that our eyes can play along and say, yeah, that's cool, Dan. That's all right. There's a color missing in this marker right here. I wonder where it went. Don't tell me it was like that.
End of And the back end of DC here is saying she's loving it as well, and it's really coming to life with the color. Isn't it good? Do you know what? I've done a lot of this kind of illustration in the past, and a lot of the stuff you're saying, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do that. So I'm having to force myself to load the questions and stuff, so I'm getting really into the session.
That's good. That's good. It's okay. And we always have a replay anyways, right?
Yeah,
you can always come back, do the replay,
yeah,
and bam, take your time with it. But I want everybody who's watching this live and in the replay later to feel free to get in touch with me. Find me, Delta Tango Mike. I am on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Tag me in some of your artwork. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk about it. I love talking about art. This is what I'm doing right now. This is what I like to do. I want to draw and talk about art all day.
Platform as well now. Is that right?
Yes, I have a Discord. Yes, that's right. Yep, we have a Discord. We hang out and draw. I stream on Mondays and Wednesdays on Behance, and I share my screen in the Discord so that anybody who has questions, they can jump in and say, "Hey Dan, this. Hey Dan, that." There you go. Boom. Yes, it's free. It's free to join and hang out. Okay, so. Yeah, I don't understand what happened here. I'm missing a color, but it's okay. Let's go ahead and now that I got this, now I can start working on the rest of the artwork. And I'm missing a color in that pencil too. Interesting. So let's go ahead and add some color to the mound. I'm gonna create a bubble for that skull. This drawing is called Sketchy Revolutions, and it's a revolution. I don't know. Whenever I draw something, my friends who are live with me and hanging out when I'm streaming, they will start throwing ideas and suggestions. And so a friend of mine, he said it's a sketchy revolution because I did a bunch of the little sketchy characters hanging out in the bottom of the screen, and they're not in this drawing. And so he called it a sketchy revolution, and I like it.
And Claudia's just saying he's just joined you on Discord. Awesome.
Nice. Welcome. Awesome. Everyone is welcome to come through. All right, so bubble shadow. Let's go ahead and add a shadow to this bubble here. There is a friend of mine. Let me add some clouds. There's no clouds. You can't see the clouds until we do the background. There is a friend of mine who likes to draw robots, and he uses a lot of yellows in his backgrounds, and I never use yellows. But I admire his work. He's in the Discord also. And so when I was drawing this, I wanted to add a gradient to the background. And the first gradient that came up was yellow, and it just gave my artwork this extra look that I had not seen before. And so there's the background right here. I love using gradients for my backgrounds. Wow. Boom. I was like, yes. It's like dusk, dawn, or like a certain time of day, you know?
Love it. Very active.
And so now
in the background.
Go ahead. Yes. Yes. All right. So now let's go ahead and click on the clouds. Make some clouds. Got it. I got some clouds going. And then finally start adding some elements to the clouds, some shadows, some line work, some highlights into the cloud. There we go. And then finally the text, Sketchy Revolutions. And I wanted a font that had that sketchy look to them. And so you'll notice that I gave myself some references to check out for reminding myself of what we got going on here. I made a layer specifically for my references. And I like to leave clues to myself outside of the artboard. In this case, it's the Illustrator Inkwell brush for my line work. And it is whatever this font name is called, Octinas Regulatory, I don't know, something like that. So I'd like to put these, type out these things and write out some notes on the outside of the canvas. That way, anytime somebody asks me, hey, what was that font there, or what was it that you used, whatever, I can just open that file and be like, okay, there it is. There's the info. And I can then share that information with others so they can try it out too. Woo!
Awesome. That was absolutely awesome. Well, I love that session. I think I managed to get most of the questions in, and as I went, I actually wrote one myself, which is when you put the shade lines in, do you do them directionally? Does that make it look more 3D? Because like the book of the head there, you've got them diagonally. Do you do it deliberately along with the, yeah?
And the shadows, what did I do with the shadows? No, this one is a pretty flat shadow here. But the lines by doing them diagonally, it gives you that flatness but also that depth. So it looks like looks like it's something kind of sideways. And that's why I did that like that.
Awesome. Dan, thank you ever so much. That was an awesome session. I got loads of great tips out of that and was just had my jaw hanging open at some points, which is really cool. So if everyone can just give Dan some love in the chat, that'd be absolutely awesome for such an awesome session. There we go. Thank you so much, Dan. That's brilliant.
Thank you very much for having me. Enjoy the rest of your day.